Hey, good top of the morning to you, whosoever, guys. Today is Revelation chapter 18. Don't you hate it, guys, when you get to the gym and you realize it's Memorial Day, which I didn't today, but I usually do on Memorial. You end up going to the gym, and they on special holidays, they change it from 4 in the morning to open to 6. So sometimes you find yourself, I've been here trying to work on my messages, work on whatever the Lord has. Again, guys, one of the coolest things about reading the Bible is that you notice there's just so much turmoil all the time. You know, whether it be Laban, this morning's devotion was Jacob and tells Leah and Rachel, hey, we got to go. He made a pact with Laban. He said, hey, and Laban says, I know I've been blessed because of you. And then he said, well, let me keep all the sheep that are, that are spotted or something. And, somehow he ends up basically taking a lot of his sheep. And, Jacob notices that Laban's attitude toward him has changed, and he tells Leah and Rachel, "Let's get out of here." And now I'm to the point. I mean, I've read this so many times, but each time you read it, God gives you an insight that, like, I'll give you an example. No matter what you do in life, you're gonna have turmoil. You're gonna have, even when God is with you, you're gonna have problems. But again, guys, don't end up having the kind of problems that Jacob has. Because now he goes, we know that he runs back to his family, but then he's stressing out because Esau wanted to kill him. And then Laban wants him. We know that as we get closer to the Bible, one of the daughters, Rachel and Leah, one of them still his idol. He's still his God. If you can steal your God, you have a pretty messed up God or pretty low God. You can't steal God. You can't do nothing to God. If God is in your life, that is a great blessing. But again, guys, as we get to chapter 18 of the book of Revelation, we see that the anguish in the world because of the Babylonians' judgment. Everybody's so invested. You got the worshipers worshiping the Queen of Heaven and Tammuz, which is today's modern religion of sun worship, and Christmas and Easter and the holidays and the gathering. It's Mystery Babylon's political, religious, and economic Babylon is so entwined that when God judges Babylon, you're going to see that the whole world is going to go in anguish. So again, let's get into chapter 9, chapter 18, verse 9 through 10 says, and the kings of the earth who had committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning. So one thing we know, that when God judgment, there's going to be a worldwide funeral. It's going to be on all televisions. It's going to be on, every commentary of, this great city of, wherever it be Jerusalem or whether it be political Babylon. I don't know. I have a feeling that economic Babylon is in London. I don't know. Because wherever there's a political or religious or economic Babylon, there's always the obelisk. And there's huge obelisks in London, guys. I even believe Big Ben, the clock, is a big obelisk hidden in the clock. Big Ben, 3 letters and 3 letters. Big, B-I-G, 3, Ben, 333. I don't know. I'm just weird like that. But I believe now the judgment of God, it would be funny if it happens at 3:30 or at 3:15. All of a sudden, you hear in the news, 3:15, 3:30. Usually when a person who belongs to the Illuminati in their obituary said, oh, he passed away on this date at 3:15. Even though he didn't die at 3:15, he's making a symbol that, the 3 and the 3. 3:15 is 3 and 3. Or 3:30, whatever. But, most of the times it's 3:15 because they want to know that they were illuminated to who really the kings of the earth are, you know. And it says, so they're going to have a huge funeral, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, what great city of Babylon, the mighty city, for in 1 hour in thy judgment has come. In that day, Babylon will dominate the rule of the world. The capital of the Antichrist will be Babylon, and he will live the first total dictatorship. The world will become an awful place. In that day, everything will center in Babylon. The stock market will be read from Babylon, not New York. Babylon, instead of Paris, will be set styles of the world. A play to be successful will have to be successful in Babylon, not London. Everything in the city will be rebellion against Almighty God, and it centers in and around the Antichrist. So, according to Pastor McGee, there's going to be a big city, a revived Roman Empire, and it's going to be a city wherever Obama is, or the Beast of Revelation, that we'll call that Babylon. And again, no one dreamed of that city would be judged, yet by the time the sun goes down, Babylon is nothing but smoldering ruins. When the news goes out, the world is stunned, and then begin to wail. The whole world will howl when Babylon goes down. I imagine that if you were on the moon, you would see the tune down your earphones because the howl would be so loud. So, again, according to the Bible, we're going to see the world mourning for the fall of Babylon. In chapter 17, we saw the kings of the earth hated religious Babylon, the Vatican, Rome, and that Antichrist got rid of it in order that he might be worshipped without any competition in the area of religion, and the kings of the earth joined in her destruction. So, this is coming to a city near us, guys. Understand that everything around us is transpiring. We're heading into the end times. We're heading into a cashless system. We're heading into a revived Roman Empire. The U.S. troops are already in Poland with all the other troops. All it takes is us to join forces under 10 kings. We know that the Bible says that the Antichrist won't be part of the 10 kings, but will be leading the 10 kings who will become his puppet. So again, the kings of the earth joined in her destruction of mystery religious Babylon. In contrast to this, here in chapter 18, we see the kings of the earth have commercial Babylon because of the revenue she brought into their coffers. In fact, it is called her fornication. You can't find a better word for it than that. All the lobbyists here were in Babylon, not Washington, D.C. They were representing all the great corporations in the world, but the kings desert Babylon like rats leaving a sinking ship. Their mourning is both pathetic and contemptible. They eulogize her with these are big words of praise, but there is a hopelessness in their anguish. They marvel at the sudden destruction in which she brought was gilt-edged security. The judgment came in the space of 1 hour, reminding us of the sudden devastation caused by atomic explosions. This is a frightful picture presented to us, and it is the final conflagration of the catastrophic judgment that will bring Christ to the earth to set up his kingdom. So, again, guys, as the tribulation hour gains speed, we're going to see the world getting centralized. Everything's going to be run out of the same way. You're not going to have freedom to travel. You need papers everywhere you go. You're going to have a chip. Everything you buy, you need a chip. You need to have. This is all a coming together of God's judgment. So what we see today about the world going cashless, it is God's judgment. It is God behind the scenes moving to judge the world. And our job, guys, as we see the day approaching, is to be a light and a salt to those around us, to understand that we have hope, to understand we have the Lord, to understand we have. Here's another thing that we read according to the chapter. Let me encourage you. So we read, for the kings of the earth had made fornication with her. Mystery Babylon the Great. Not wanting to be tormented with the same torment which Babylon is tormented, the kings of the earth will lament and mourn, but standing afar off at a safe distance. In 1 hour her judgment has come. The utter destruction of the city, like Babylon, taking place in 1 hour would most likely be the result of a nuclear exchange, says Pastor John Corson. A fallout in which would explain why the kings of the earth stand afar off. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet, and all thine and wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of most precious wood, of brass, of iron, and immortal. And cinnamon and odors of ointments, frankincense and wine and oil, fine flour, wheat, and beasts of the sheep, and horses of the chariots, and slaves, and the souls of men. So there, this Mystery Babylon really, they dealt in a lot of things, even to the point of slaves and chariots and horses and the souls of men. And the fruits of thy souls lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and godly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. So it's never going to return. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off in fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, for the great city that clothed in fine linen, the purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches have come to naught. So there's a coming to nothing in our future for all things. Pastor John Corson says, which says this, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buys their merchandise anymore. No one is saying, oh, those poor people in Babylon. No, they're saying, oh no, the world economy is wiped out. And as the result of the destruction of Babylon as described, it feels that they were on a floor-by-floor tour of a huge department store like Fifth Avenue and Bloomingdale. So like, oh man, it's bad. In the first floor, we find gold and silver and precious stones, which is really jewelry. Second floor, we find clothing, fine linen, purple and scarlet and silk. The third floor, we find home furnishings, thine wood, all manner of vessels of ivory, vessels of precious wood and brass and iron and marble. On the fifth floor, we find cosmetics, cinnamon and odors of ointments and frankincense. And then Pastor John Corson says, and then in the fifth floor, we have the food court. The wine, the oil, the fine flour, the wheat, the beasts, and the sheep. And then, again, the sixth floor, we have the automotive section, where it's going to be the horses and the chariots. And then, and the slaves and the souls of men. The word slaves literally means bodies. This is the basement, the adult bookstore. Please note that one of the affirmations and deals of this life necessities were their luxuries. Babylon specializes in materialism gone mad. So we know that, according to Pastor John Corson, everything around us, the world chain supply of goods, of jewelry and clothing and home furnishing, cosmetics, food courts, and automotive, everything's going to be destroyed. And it's going to be the judgment of God. Both Pastor McGee and John Corson believe it's going to be a nuclear exchange. Maybe not even a nuclear exchange. Maybe they're just going to be wiped out by a nuclear bomb. I don't know. But the Bible says, as we read this verse, do you feel that you might be in window shopping down the main street of some of your great cities? In our store windows, we will see all these things of our day, says Pastor McGee. They are products of an affluent society. These things were available to the Roman Empire in John's day. Babylon was make these luxuries items necessities, just as we think these items are necessities today. You will not find a cotton dress or a pair of overalls anywhere on this list. I remember, Pastor McGee says, when glazed vitreous terracotta bathtubs first were introduced in this country. Incidentally, it was opposed by the doctors in our land. They said that if they took a bath every day, you would shorten your life. They felt a bath once a week or once a month was enough. In those days, the bathtub was a luxury that only folks normal folks couldn't afford. But now when we go to a hotel or motel, my wife, says Pastor McGee, looks to see if there is a tub. And I look to see if there's a shower, and generally both are present. We live in a luxurious age. Most of what we call necessities are actually luxuries, says Pastor McGee. Let's look at these items using my material translation. We will take them up separately. And the merchants of the earth wept and mourned over her, for no man buys their merchandise, cargo, anymore. Merchandise, cargo, or gold and silver and precious stones and pearls. Talk about a depression. They are having one. No one buys their merchandise or cargo anymore. In Babylon, there is merchandise of gold and silver, precious stones and pearls. You see, we are in the jewelry department here. Oh, Pastor John Corson got his thing from Pastor McGee. Here we go. And then we move to the jewelry department, to the ladies ready to wear and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet. Then the luxury gift department, and all thy citron wood, and every vessel of ivory, and every vessel of gold, and precious stones, and of brass, and iron, and marble. We move on to the spice and cosmetic departments. See, great minds think alike. And then we go to the meat department, where you get porterhouse steaks, lamb chops, filet mignon, and cattle and sheep. The merchandise covers every phrase of business. The articles are for society, accustomed to the better things of life. Guys, we don't want to trade what God has for us for material wealth. Even men were bought and sold including their souls. I think this is becoming more and more true today, where great corporations of men on the payroll who are bound, they're almost like slaves. Right now, there are many women selling her soul. The merchandise of horses and chariots and slaves, bodies and souls of men. The merchandise of these things who grew rich by her shall stand afar off because of the fear of her torment. Alas, alas. The Greek word alas doesn't need to be translated to get a meaning. It is O-U-A-I. The very sound of the word is a form of wailing. The merchants of the earth sit before their TV screens and cry, oh my gosh, what is this? For 1 hour, wealth so great is laid desolate. We have always been able to find a parallel in the Old Testament. Do we have anything that corresponds to this in the past? Yes. Ezekiel predicted the judgment of Tyre, the capital of the Phoenicians. Tyre was in ancient world what New York City is today, what Babylon will be in the future. So, again, guys, the closer we get to the end times, the closer we get to what the Lord is calling us, the best man will be able to conjure up and build in the tribulation hour will be destroyed, according to these passages, by a nuclear explosion. When you hear wars and rumors of wars, God knows what he's telling you. He's telling you, can you imagine putting all your marbles and all your eggs in one basket, and then you take the mark of the beast, and then it gets destroyed, and the system gets destroyed, and everything, and there's famine and pestilence, and you have boils? Guys, these are warnings from God. Don't allow the lies of doubt of the enemy to make ourselves at home in your mind. Trust the Lord in what he has for you. Trust the Lord what he's doing behind the scenes. Trust the Lord that he's moving. This is a teaching. I don't care if I only get 10 views, 50 views, but I believe that when the tribulation hits, if my videos are still up, I can encourage people to don't take the mark of the beast, believe in Jesus Christ, be born again, wait on his return. Be part of the kingdom. Don't let the enemy lie to you. No matter how nice the Satan is, remember, everybody who's taking the mark of the beast will become devil worshippers in a sense. They will become traitors. They will turn you in to the devil and his minions and his security force. This is all happening, guys, because the Lord wants you to know that there's a God in heaven who sees the beginning from the end. Again, guys, the merchants of the earth, you might call it today's bosses, are going to join forces with the beast system and find themselves, you won't be able to get any supplies, all the cargo ships, because the next verse we see that every shipmaster and all the company of ships and sailors, as many as trade by the sea, stood afar off. So, again, guys, as the end times gain speed, tomorrow we'll go over the sailors, the great city, the burning of the smoke. They're going to throw dust in their heads. They're going to be weeping and wailing. And these people are going to be weeping and wailing when they hit hell too. So don't Don't allow that to move you guys. So again, guys, may the Lord bless you. Happy Memorial Day. Today is September 4th, 2023. Like and subscribe. I'm going to pray about what to teach after I go through the book of Revelation. If you have any comments, comment down there what you would like to hear. I always like to start when you finish the Bible, always go to the beginning, because of the fact that Satan hates the beginning more than anything else. The first book in the Bible, the book of Genesis, because it tells about his fall, about his influence, about his dominion, about everything that he has.